Welcome back, fellow animators. In this lesson, you'll learn how to make your character walk on 12s. That is 12 frames per step, which is one of the most common tempos when doing walk cycles. First thing we'll do is to set out some markers, and here it's very important that you place them at the exact same time as I do. Let's first animate the part where our shoe is in contact with the ground. So set the indicator at the right contact mark. Then snap some position and rotation frames on the right shoe. Drag it out to around here. Then go to left contact and drag the shoe to around here. Let's make the step a bit longer. By the way, there's no perfect length of the step itself, so you'll notice me adjusting things like this all the way up to the final bell. Now, go to right contact loop and duplicate the frames from the beginning to here. It's very important that the values in the beginning and end of a loop are 100% the same, because otherwise it won't loop properly. Let's fix the tempo of the step. So select all the X position frames and open up the graph editor. Adjust the graph so there is zero curvation on the graph during the first half. Yep, it's very important you don't curve the graph here, as the step needs to move at a constant speed whilst in contact with the ground. As for the second part, here it's good to add some easing to those curves, as it will make the step feel smoother whilst transitioning up and down from the part where the shoe is in the air. I see a lot of walk cycles where the shoe feels very choppy whilst going up into the air, and this is due to them not adding any easing here. Let's now make the shoe a lift and rotate properly. So snap a Y position and rotation frame at 1 second and 2 frames. Then go to right contact and rotate the shoe up to around here. Adjust the height so it doesn't cut through the shadow. Snap some new frames at the right up mark. Then go to left contact and rotate the shoe down to around here. adjust the height so it doesn't cut through the shadow. Perfect. Now, go to left leg switch and push that shoe upwards with the arrow keys, as we don't want to touch that X position at all. Rotate it just a tad like this. Now, close the loop by, as always, copy-pasting the first frames to the end, and voila! Alright, let's now make this nice and smooth by adjusting the graphs of the Y position and rotation. Same thing here. We don't want any easing on those graphs whilst the shoe is in flat contact with the ground. Done. By the way, it's very important that the motion path itself curves at the end of the step, cause otherwise it will feel like the shoe hits an invisible wall. Now, to make the other leg move, just copy all the frames from the right shoe. Paste them to the left shoe. Offset them half a loop to the left. As you can see, it now stops halfway into the walk cycle. And to fix this, we just need to copy-paste all the frames to the end, like so. Perfect. Now, as these frames here just replace the old frames, we need to fix those graphs again. Done. Let's also push the left shoe a bit to the right so it matches the perspective of the character itself. So set the indicator at the left contact mark, select all the frames and shift-click the right arrow key a couple of times like so. Perfect. Now we just need to adjust the shadow before moving on to the arms. When animating arms, you need to think opposite. For instance, the right arm here moves in the opposite direction to the right leg. So set the indicator at the right contact mark, select position right arm, snap a rotation frame, and rotate the arm to around here. Then go to the left contact mark and rotate the arm to around here. Copy-paste the first frames to the end, make them easy ease, perfect. Let's make the arm snap a bit when going forward. So unhide the right arm wrist layer, snap a direction frame at the right contact mark. Go to 1 second and 6 frames and change the direction to -100. Copy-paste the first frame to left contact mark and boom. Alright, nothing is happening and that's because the arm is too short. So let's make it a bit longer. Done. Now, easy ease those frames. That looks better. Let's just fine-tune this a bit.
Something extra, something special. I do so much for you guys.
The values in the start and end of a loop needs to be exactly the same. So make sure to select them both before adjusting them. Now we just need to fix the hand, so rotate the right hand to around -8 degrees at the right contact mark. Then go to 1 second and 6 frames and rotate it to around 22 degrees. Copy the first frame to the left contact mark, easy ease the frames, and boom. Now, to make the left arm move, simply copy-paste the frames from the right to the corresponding layers on the left. Almost there. We just need to offset the left arm half a loop to the right. So, select all the position left arm rotation frames, copy them, then set the indicator at the end of the loop and paste them back in. Now, select all the rotation frames again and move them one full loop to the left. Then, select all the frames including the wrist and hand layer and move them half a loop to the right. Boom. Let's just fine-tune the arms before we move on to the waist layer. Here it starts to get interesting. So select the waist layer, go to the right down mark and push it down to around here. Snap out the Y position frame. Now go to the right up mark and push the layer upwards. Copy-paste the right down frame to the left down mark. Copy-paste all the frames and drag them so the last frame aligns with the indicator. Now copy them once more and there. Now we have enough frames on each side of that preview window to play around with offsets. Now, easy is the frames. Adjust the graphs like this. Move the whole body forward via the X position slider. Select all the Y position frames and push them all up via the slider like so. Not bad, but the leg stretches a bit too much at the end, which means we have to animate the length. So, select the right ankle layer and snap a length frame at the right contact mark. Then, go to where the leg stretches in the back and make it a bit longer. Copy the first frame to the end. Easy is the frames. Perfect. Now, duplicate the frames to the other ankle layers and remember, you need to offset them half a loop on the left ankle layers. Done. Now starts a long process of fine-tuning, but make sure to watch all of it so you understand the importance of tweaking. Alright, enough tweaking, let's now have some fun. And what do I mean by fun? Well, I mean that by simply offsetting the keyframes in the waist layer, we can drastically alter the attitude of the walk cycle. Pretty neat. However, in this lesson we'll go with the original setup, so make sure to put the keyframes back in their original position. Done. Start off by showing only the head, neck and body layer. Snap a rotation frame in all three layers at the right contact mark. Then go to the right leg switch mark and rotate the body to around 6 degrees. Copy the frame from right contact to left contact. Now, copy-paste the sequence a couple of times until you got some extra frames on each side of that preview window. And why do we want this? Well, it allows us to offset the values without breaking the loop. Let's now do the same thing for the neck, but instead of 6 degrees, we'll make it 3 at the leg switch mark. As for the head, make it around -9 degrees at the leg switch mark before repeating the same steps as we did for the other 2 layers. Cool, but not quite there yet. We still need to play around with offsets. So start dragging the frames back and forth between the 3 layers until you get a rhythm you feel good with. You can rotate all keyframes together by simply selecting them all and adjusting the rotation slider. Just make sure the indicator is on top of a pre-existing keyframe, cause otherwise it will just create a new frame. And there we go! Our walk cycle is now ready for some secondary motion and details. But first, a bonus tip.
Something extra, something special. I do so much for you guys.
This walk cycle here contains only 3 different shoes. One regular, one that got the heel in the ground, and one from the bottom. So, how come there is so many perspectives? Well, it's because I've animated the paths on some of the shoes frame by frame to make them transition smoother throughout the step. Sometimes it makes sense to pre-design more shoes and sometimes it don't. It all depends on the complexity of your walk cycle. But one thing is for sure, you must be ready to animate the path itself when transitioning between the shoes.
Tip. Something extra, something special. I do so much for you guys.
Now, if you're planning to export the walk cycle as a GIF, then you can simply export the loop as it is. But if you're planning to use it in a longer context, you need to sequence the walk cycle. And yup, it's really easy. Just create a new composition, name it walk cycle sequence, drag the walk cycle into the composition, trim it in the beginning and end, drag it to the beginning like so, duplicate it a bunch of times, then select them all together, right-click on one of them, go to Keyframe Assistant and choose Sequence Layers. There, the walk cycle is now ready to be used in any type of scene.